guys, good morning. How is everybody doing? I hope everyone had a nice weekend. My name is Macy Satantio and I am the founder of Autism Career Pathways, a nonprofit aiming to help figure out neurodivergent employability here in San Francisco Bay Area. My husband and I also, we work as parent coaches remotely and directly. So I'm here today to share actually the mistakes I made along the way as a professional serving kids diagnosed with all kinds of neurological conditions. So I'm here to share with you guys. So come on in. Let's see here. I have a long list. I made a lot of mistakes along the way. So I've been doing this for 30 years, a long time, and it's been quite a journey in a positive way. I think it changed me as a person, as a mom, and there's always something, what's next for me, which is amazing. I think not every professional can say I'm still passionate about what I do and I want to continue doing and I still have aspirations. So if you guys are in here as a professional clinician therapist who feel like you have the calling to do what you do, just keep going. And I'm hoping that today's content will help you be the best that you can be and continue to grow. So I was working as a behavioral therapist 30 years ago. And so that meant that I would travel to provide in-home programs for my clients all over Los Angeles area. And okay, so the number one mistake that I think new clinicians, therapists often make is that before we got into this work, we didn't ask us why, the why bother question. Why do we bother to actually want to work with kids? So when I started, I thought, well, I knew that I wanted to work with kids. I love kids. Kids are cute, and it looks like it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Hi, Cynthia. It looked like it's a lot of fun working with kids. They're little kids, and I thought I'm gonna love this, But the why bother is actually the number one question that everyone should ask. Do you really have the calling in your heart to serve autistic individuals or just kids in general? But when you work with special needs kids, I think your heart has to be in it, because many times you will have the responsibility on you to support, and there will be a lot of ups and downs while you're working with each client, and you have to persevere. So the number one is the why bother. Think about that. Why are you in this? Are you in this for short term? Because people tell you it's fun, they're hiring, and you'll get to work with cute kids, and you're gonna learn. Of course, we're always learning all the time, but the why bother, it's really important, So take a moment to really think about it, because I think if you don't have the heart for it, it's just a temporary step for you. There will be a lot of driving involved if you are working as a behavioral therapist, and the driving in LA just killed me. But because I really love what I did, working with kids at home, I persevered. So the why bother, think about it. Maybe if you're learning to be a speech therapist, if you're learning to become an OT or an educator, that's a little bit different. But if you love it, you love it. How do you know? Because when you work with your clients, you are the happiest. And working with little kids, parents come into that picture. So you have to really make sure that you're able to be resilient, persevere, because you have to be there not just for your little kids, little clients, you also have to be there for the parents. Okay. Number two, mistake number two. When I was younger, when I got started, I was very focused on the training at UCLA. I was very focused on doing things correctly by the book, because I didn't know any better, I guess, at that time, 30 years ago. So whatever I was told during the team meetings, whatever I read on the book, on the textbook, I would try to do it to the T's, right? So the book knowledge would be important at some point as you're entering into this field. But remember this, the book knowledge, it's actually a very, very small portion, you guys. When we are serving autistic individuals, the book knowledge is very, very small, because the heart of it, it's really our intuitiveness as a clinician, as a professional, and our willingness to keep an open mind and continue to learn. And when you work with a client, you have to tell yourself, I'm starting over. All this book knowledge, textbook, formulas, hierarchies of the programs, you put it aside, because the first thing you have to do is to get to know the client first. You know, your little client. I always say that I work with the autistic individuals first. I don't work for the parents. I don't work for other team members. My first responsibility is to the individual that I serve. Okay, so the book knowledge, actually, if at any point, you know, maybe you earn your PhD, your doctorate, you know, at any point, it becomes very dangerous when you say, well, I know everything there is about autism, or about apraxia, or about cognitive behavioral therapy, about all these things that you went to school with. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you got busy, you have a long waiting list, and then very often, and maybe you don't realize it, that you have stopped learning as a professional. And I think that's, excuse me, very, very dangerous when you don't realize that you have stopped learning. It's very dangerous. Okay. And then what comes with this is also, where do we continue to learn as a professional working with autistic kids? The question is where. A lot of times, I think, especially today with social media, there is such a thing as too much information, and the information available online is not really what we need. It causes a lot of stress and a lot of confusion, especially if you're new in the field. So I would say, well, you can send me a message separately, and I'm happy to tell you autistic-led Facebook or social media accounts that I think is positive. So you want to come to a place online where you can ask your questions without being judged. I think that's really important. I think it's important to keep learning from autistic adults, and you want to find places where you can ask questions and get some answers. Okay. Number 3 mistake is trying to figure out a professional relationship. I think the term relationship, especially when you're new at this, is often not clear, and you can cross the line and not realizing it, because you do work with kids. We all work with kids, you know. So example would be like staying over for lunch. After 30 years, you guys, I do come at lunchtime. I do come at dinner time, because I do in-home coaching. But when the whole family's eating, I do not eat with them. You know, so maintaining that professional boundaries, it's really, really important. It's not that we don't want to be friends with the families. But that is not what we're there for. So if you're there to observe and to support parents to figure out like what's going on at meal times, then that is your job, right? If you're going to do generalization training at the supermarket, that is your job. You don't go pick up a few items along the way and put them in your purse because you want to do two things in one, so that is, I think, very, very important to keep in mind. When you are on the clock, you are on the clock there, and you have to be there to stay focused. A few times when I was younger, when I was single, I got distracted quite often, and the clients you work with, they can see that you're distracted. So it's just keep in mind, you may not realize that you're distracted, but other people will. So and that also includes, I think, presenting yourself in the most professional manner. And dress codes is one of those things that I think when I was younger, I didn't pay attention too much, and of course the kids don't really care the way we're dressed, but I was young and I was supposed to be telling parents suggestions on how to best raise this child. I think that if you present yourself in a most professional manner, including the way you're dressed, I think it helps to send that message that I am well trained and I'm here as a professional. So keep that in mind, okay? So that's everything that has to do with professional relationship. We have to be mindful of the lines. I'm sure there are other things. Hi, Anita. Okay. Number 4 is my mistake when I got worried, when there was something not working out. Maybe the client just got stuck in the program, or suddenly you got like bad vibes from your client's mom, or they start canceling a lot the sessions, you give them assignments and they don't do the assignments, they stop talking to you, they stop responding to you. When things are fine and dandy, it's great, but when things are not like that anymore, for whatever reason, it's hard. So it's very easy, I think, you become reactive. And maybe a common mistake that I used to do would be to chase after my clients' parents or the person, and I forgot that maybe there's something else going on with the family that they cannot tell me. So I think the best way is to follow your gut instinct when things are difficult and give people space, while you also figure out what would be the best way at this point to support them. Sometimes people just need a break, right? Maybe they have something going on. One time this happened to me where I just felt so stuck. I was so frustrated. So after you finish your sessions, if it doesn't feel good or you feel frustrated, that's your gut instinct trying to tell you something. Listen to it, right? It turned out that there was spousal abuse going on at home, and I had to wait quite a while. Waiting doesn't mean that we disconnect. So that's another common mistake. When things are hard, we either bombard our clients with texts or emails or whatever, and then they don't respond, and we get even more anxious, like, oh my God, we're losing our job or we're losing a client. But the first thing you have to do is give people some space, and then you can try again to get in touch with them. So in that particular case, I asked mom to make an appointment, just her and I, without the child. And then everything came out that there was a spousal abuse happening at home. right? So, and I think the best thing we could do during the downtimes for the families we work with is just to be there for them, to become the emotional support and to be a good listener. And we don't always have to do things, right? We can be in a more proactive, supportive role without having to do too much. We need to be able to slow down. Okay, so that is number 4. Number 5, a lot of times when things are difficult or when we're new at the job, we don't have the confidence to ask questions. We follow what people are telling us to do exactly to the T's because we think, oh, we don't know any better, so we just do what other people are telling us to do. So we train our kids to do compliance, and we're not realizing we're also being trained to comply to people working as supervisors. So asking questions is really important. And when I say asking questions, it doesn't necessarily mean asking people questions. A lot of times we have to ask ourselves questions. You know, am I slowing down enough? Am I talking too much? Is this the right way to do it? You know, how else can I figure out how to provide or be a mindful guide for this client, right? So when things are not going well, it's take a moment to really ask yourself questions. And also don't be afraid to ask. If you find there are people who know more about this problem or condition or situation, go to them and ask, okay? And remember, don't focus on the problems. That's actually another very common mistake when you're new at this. We tend to focus on the problems, but we forget that no one has a crystal ball, and problems, we can't solve problems in one day, right? So, right, Anita? Yeah, we don't want to yell at each other or become frustrated, and we yell at our client or come across as frustrated or indifferent to the parents we work with. So all of these things, we have to be aware, right? So ask questions. Think about it and ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's very important. Number 6, mistake number 6. Okay, this is an important one. Okay, so what if you're working and you work so hard and we've tried everything, including all of the above I just talked about, right? And things are just not working out. What are the signs of that? I think for me personally, when I work and when I'm finished with my session and I can't switch it off in my mind, you know, there's something that my gut feeling is trying to tell me something, and it feels heavy, it feels sad, it feels frustrated, and I've tried to do everything I could to resolve that. And it gets to the point where our relationship our professional relationship, it's not working out anymore. And if my presence actually costs my client and the client's parents more stress, right? This is after you've tried everything, tried communicating, asking for help, brainstorming, be an adult in the relationship. And if it doesn't work out, don't be afraid to take a break. So as a parent coach and family therapist, I actually have a relationship with the client and his or her families, and I work with families for years and years, and I love that. But this also comes with respecting the family's needs to take a break at times. So holiday times are coming, or now with COVID, you know, people get sick, you know. So when your clients need a break, you respect that. And it doesn't mean that you're disconnecting with each other. You know, sometimes you come to that point in your professional relationship that you come together and say, hey, you know what, maybe we should wait until Johnny is a little bit older, and then we can come together again, and I'm always here for you guys. What do you think? You know, sometimes the parents will bring it up, sometimes you bring it up. It's just a discussion, and it's what everyone needs at this point. So don't be afraid to take a personal break. And also, when you tell yourself, and be brave enough to say, you know, it's not working out, you know, I've done everything I can in my within my professional therapeutic knowledge, that I am not here. I'm no longer in that role where I can help you guys to be productive. So I'm referring you out to other professionals. You know, sometimes that's the best way. And it doesn't mean that you can't work together again in the future, right? But please, guys, do this in the most respectful way, because who suffers? Your little client suffers. You know, I just recently had a client who, like, they thought everything was fine and dandy. They went on to vacation, and then when they came back, the therapist just basically bailed on them, disappeared. And of course, my client was heartbroken because his schedule is turned upside down. You know, he was expecting his therapist to come and hang out with him and work with him, and the therapist was basically gone. No goodbyes, no clear reasons why. So when you decide to take a break or no longer be put on the case, the person that you must say goodbye to is your little clients. I don't care how old they are. You have to have closure. You have to help them to have closure. Give them something that belongs to you. You know, take a picture together, or write them a note, or give them a call once in a while. You know, that's really important. Really, really important. Okay? Okay. So, number seven. Number 7 could easily be number 1. My mistake of not taking care of myself. So when you are new into this field, you're juggling so many things. You know, I think for me, the driving took a lot out of me. Hi, Ian. So taking care of yourself is really important. And that comes with setting the boundaries. How many clients can you juggle? And I don't advise for people to do more than 3 a day if you're doing home therapy. If you're working in a clinical setting, make sure you take at least half an hour break in between your sessions so you can restart with a fresh mind. That's really important, you guys. If you can, like, possibly not work every day, because burnout is real. Burnout is real. Even though you have fun maybe working with kids, but there are other conditions that come with our job, like driving, and nobody could really do back to back, you know. So when I was running the clinic was full, my schedule was so packed, and we had a waiting list. I was exhausted. Most nights I could be in tears easily, and that is not good. So self-care is actually really, really important. All right, so I think we're moving on to number 8, and that's the last one. The last one is always have passion. And I guess the mistake would be when you're feeling so tired and like unfulfilled in this work. It doesn't mean that this field is not for you anymore. It just means that you have to find ways to reignite your passion. I think all professionals have to do that, right? So don't forget about finding new passions. And a lot of it, guys, find passion outside of what consumes your mind the most. So what I mean is that if you work in the field of autism, find passion outside of that. So your life shouldn't be consumed about everything about autism. And believe me, I know this because I've been doing this for a long time. You know, you need life outside of what you think about the most every day, because passion can help you to fill up your cup so you can be better when you are working. So find it. Join a book club. Cooking, I do a lot of cooking and baking, even though I suck at it. Hang out with people who don't know much about autism, so you can force yourself not to always talk about it. Write blogs. Yeah, so find your passion. Okay, so I think I did it, you guys. I only have 8 so far. Do you guys have any questions? I hope this is helpful. Do you have any more to add to that list, like professional mistakes that you make along the way? Yeah, but I really love what I do. I think working with autistic individuals has given me opportunities to travel, to do presentation, to write, and of course to advocacy for parents and also professionals, and also for autistic individuals. So I'm here for the long run. So I'm very lucky to be able to tell you guys that. I mean, be able to tell myself that I'm continuing this. This is my journey. This is my calling. So this is I'm very lucky. Any questions? Well, I thank you guys for being here. I hope that was helpful, and I wish you a great Thanksgiving for my friends here in America. There will be no Insta Live anymore for November because I'm trying to take a break, and we will resume in December. And if you have any questions, send me a message. Take care. Bye.